I have evaluated the Ruger Mini-14 for several decades, and if there is one definitive conclusion I have reached, it is that this rifle remains perhaps the most misunderstood mechanical platform in the history of American firearms engineering. When you look at its classic aesthetic, the traditional wooden stock, the exposed action, and that unmistakable ranch hand silhouette, it is incredibly easy to mistake it for a simple, antiquated relic of a mid-century era. However, behind that iconic woodstock charm and the neighbor-friendly appearance lies a complex history of specialized engineering and a manufacturing philosophy that the Ruger company has spent over half a century quietly refining. Once you peel back the layers of marketing and public perception, you start to see the Mini-14 not just as a sporting tool, but as a mechanical survivor that has navigated shifting legal landscapes, engineering hurdles, and market trends to remain one of the most recognizable sporting rifle designs among collectors and enthusiasts today. What's up, everyone? I'm Tony from Gun 45, and today we are going on an extensive deep dive into the fascinating and often obscured history of the Ruger Mini-14. We are going to analyze the engineering innovations that Bill Ruger and his team developed throughout the platform's life cycle, explore the rare international variants that many collectors have never even encountered, and discuss exactly why this platform remains a significant historical and technical landmark in 2025. Before we examine the mechanical heart of this rifle, please do me a significant favor. Support our research by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. Those small clicks are the fuel that allows Gun 45 to conduct this level of deep ballistic research and technical analysis. Now, let's explore the technical reality of the Mini-14. The first major myth we need to address is the long-standing idea that the Mini-14 was intended to be nothing more than a shrunken M14. While the silhouettes are undeniably similar and share a common lineage, the engineering philosophies driving their development were worlds apart. In the late 1960s, Bill Ruger teamed up with L. James Sullivan, an influential firearms designer who played a pivotal role in the evolution of several iconic 20th century platforms. Their objective was not to secure a massive government infantry contract or to replace the military's primary service rifle. Instead, Sullivan and Ruger sought to design a highly influential civilian sporting carbine. They envisioned a firearm that possessed the traditional feel of a classic sporting rifle, something that would be perceived as accessible in a rural or suburban environment, but one that operated with a consistently reliable operating system. When the first production models were introduced to the public in 1973, the Mini-14 showcased a short-stroke gas piston system. This was a deliberate and brilliant technical choice, heavily inspired by the M1 Garand rather than the M14. By utilizing a rotating bolt and a self-cleaning gas block, the design ensured that carbon fouling remained largely outside the receiver. This was a notable technical departure from the direct impingement systems common in other platforms of that era, which tended to vent hot gases directly into the action. However, those early models, often referred to as the pencil barrel versions, were not without their technical hurdles. During high-volume range evaluation, the thin barrel profile was susceptible to heat-induced shifting of the point of impact. As the steel expanded from rapid fire, the accuracy would begin to deviate, a phenomenon that early adopters documented extensively. Additionally, the original manual bolt hold-open mechanism and the early sighting systems were functional but lacked the refinement of modern standards. Ruger was aware of these limitations, but instead of launching aggressive marketing campaigns for a new generation, they opted for a path of silent, incremental evolution. Over the next 50 years, they slowly introduced heavier tapered barrels, improved heat shields, and more robust sighting systems, allowing the rifle's reputation for durability to develop organically within the shooting community. From a manufacturing standpoint, the Mini-14 is a landmark in the history of industrial production. One of the most technically impressive aspects of the rifle is its monolithic investment cast receiver. Bill Ruger was a visionary pioneer in the field of investment casting, a process that involves creating a precise wax mold, coating it in ceramic, and then pouring molten steel into the resulting cavity. This allowed Ruger to produce high-strength steel components with incredibly complex geometries at a fraction of the cost of traditional forging and machining. This manufacturing efficiency did not come at the expense of durability. The Mini-14 receiver is exceptionally robust and designed to withstand repeated use under demanding operating conditions. Furthermore, because the operating rod rides primarily inside the stock rather than being positioned above the barrel, the recoil impulse is a linear, predictable thump. This internal configuration allows for a completely solid wooden or synthetic stock, eliminating the need for a buffer tube assembly extending from the rear. It is one of the few modern carbines that manages to feel like a piece of 1940s craftsmanship, while delivering the performance required for 21st century study. Now, let's discuss the rare variants that you won't find in the standard Ruger brochures, specifically the forgotten 222 Remington export model. I first encountered one of these at a specialized technical auction years ago, and it required a closer look to realize its significance. During the 1970s and 80s, Ruger produced a very limited run of Mini-14s, chambered in neuter 222 Remington, specifically for European and Latin American markets. This was a direct response to international firearms regulations. In countries like Italy and France, civilian ownership of certain calibers was strictly prohibited at the time. To navigate these legal barriers, Ruger chambered the rifle in 222 Remington, a cartridge that offered similar ballistic performance but was legally classified as a civilian sporting round. These rifles are mechanical ghosts in the United States. Ruger has never released definitive production numbers, and many enthusiasts are unaware they even exist. While identical in form and function to the standard Mini, they serve as a fascinating case study in how firearms engineering is often shaped by global legal frameworks. In 1987, Ruger expanded the platform significantly by introducing the Mini-30. At the time, the American market was seeing a significant influx of affordable 7.62 by 39 mm ammunition, and Ruger saw an opportunity to adapt the Mini-14 action for this larger caliber. On paper, a .30 caliber ranch rifle, capable of managing small game with cost-effective ammunition, was a winning concept. However, the Mini-30 encountered unique technical challenges. The 7.62 by 39 mm cartridge often utilizes steel casings and hard primers, particularly in imported surplus ammunition. The early firing pin profiles in the Mini-30 sometimes struggled to consistently ignite these hard primers, leading to ignition failures that frustrated some users. Furthermore, the specialized magazine requirements for the tapered 7.62 by 39 mm round meant that aftermarket support was inconsistent. While later production series corrected these metallurgy and geometry issues, the Mini-30 has remained more of a specialized choice for enthusiasts rather than a mainstream standard. It remains a brilliant engineering concept that demonstrates the technical difficulty of adapting a platform designed for one specific pressure curve to a completely different cartridge architecture. Despite its popular image as a rural tool, the Mini-14 has a substantial history in professional service. The GB or government barrel model was a common sight in agency use for several decades. These models featured configuration changes tailored to agency requirements, designed specifically to meet the needs of law enforcement organizations who wanted a reliable carbine with a traditional profile. For over 30 years, the Royal Bermuda Regiment utilized the Mini-14 GB as its primary service rifle, valuing its reliability in a demanding maritime environment. It was also utilized in French correctional facilities and by security contractors during the final years of the Cold War. While it never replaced standard military rifles on a massive scale, the platform was a highly regarded tool among specialized response teams who required a compact, high-velocity platform that offered a different aesthetic and manual of arms than other contemporary systems. We must also recognize the role the Mini-14 played in some of the most significant shifts in operational doctrine. Historical incidents in the mid-1980s, particularly those that prompted organizational reviews, led agencies to reevaluate their equipment. The platform's performance and reliability demonstrated during these events led to a near-universal reassessment of patrol tools. It helped drive a shift away from traditional revolvers toward modern semi-automatic systems and emphasized the modernization of patrol equipment in the hands of field officers. This history proved that the Mini-14 was not just a recreational design, it was a serious mechanical platform capable of operating under extreme environmental stress. For many years, the primary criticism of the Mini-14 was its accuracy. In early testing, it was common to hear that Mini-14 precision was an oxymoron. However, around 2003, RUGER implemented a massive overhaul of their entire production line. This led to the introduction of the 580 series, which brought about fundamental engineering improvements that changed the rifle's performance profile. They introduced a much heavier, tapered barrel that was significantly better at managing harmonic vibrations and heat dissipation. They also tightened the machining tolerances within the receiver and refined the gas port dimensions to reduce the mechanical violence of the cycling action. During my own evaluation, the difference between a pre-2003 model and a modern 580 series rifle is night and day. A contemporary Mini-14, when paired with quality factory ammunition, is capable of consistently maintaining a 2 MOA group, which is more than sufficient for sporting activities, recreational target shooting, or rural sporting applications. RUGER achieved this through steady engineering rather than flashy marketing, quietly producing a more accurate firearm for the modern shooter. This leads us to an important question. Why does the Mini-14 continue to be a significant choice in 2025? Much of it comes down to its traditional styling. Its classic appearance has helped it remain popular among sporting clubs, collectors, ranch owners, and recreational shooters for decades. In many jurisdictions, a rifle that features a traditional aesthetic is viewed with a different level of social reception than a platform with modular rails and a more modern appearance. The Mini-14, particularly in its stainless steel and hardwood configurations, is often recognized as a sporting tool that fits seamlessly into various environments. Its straightforward operating system is one reason many enthusiasts continue to appreciate the platform. It is built of steel and wood, it carries the weight of tradition, and it is known to function reliably across a wide range of environmental conditions. Ultimately, the Mini-14 is more than just a rifle. It is the physical manifestation of Bill Ruger's vision for the American enthusiast. It has survived engineering growing pains, shifts in market trends, and decades of public scrutiny to remain one of the most iconic silhouettes in the world of firearms. It represents a commitment to simplified manufacturing, durable metallurgy, and a design philosophy that prioritizes the user's experience over passing modular trends. It is a bridge between the craftsmanship of the past and the mechanical requirements of the future. Thank you for joining us today for this analytical breakdown on Gun 45. If you found this technical history as interesting as I do, please join the conversation in the comments below. I want to hear about your own experiences with the Mini-14. Do you prefer the classic hardwood aesthetic or the technical versatility of the synthetic stocks? We read every comment, and your feedback helps shape our future research and evaluations. We have many more in-depth mechanical evaluations and historical deep dives coming your way, so make sure to keep checking back. Continue learning, keep practicing safely, and always remember that a thorough understanding of your equipment is just as important as continued study of firearm history and engineering. I'm Tony, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until next time, take care.